You're listening to the Faith and Business Podcast with me, your host, Elle Edwards, from the Faith and Business Playground, here with Bible-friendly brain gymnastics to help make your day-to-day life and business more delightful. In today's episode of the podcast, I'm going to be asking you to consider that now is the perfect time for you to start reviewing your year. Because yes, it is December. And yes, lots of businesses are going quieter. I'm not. I'm having a fabulous time playing along with the Advent adventure with those of you who are playing along. However, this time of year, our thoughts are turning towards the new year. But I want you to consider this idea that before you can start preparing for the new, it makes good sense to first allow at least some time to review what's gone on already. And the thing is, your brain wants to help you with this, of course, because the more that you ponder on the bits of your year that were lovely, and maybe the bits of your year that you want to bring more of into the new year, the more examples of that your brain will bring up, thanks to that amazing, wonderful reticular activating system. Yay! It's one of my favorite parts of brain science, the reticular activating system. It's your brain filtering in those things that it deems important to you. And I'm not going to give you the full, that's just the really quick, 15 seconds explanation, because I feel like I've talked about that a lot. And for the benefit of long-time listeners, I do not want to do a whole episode on that again. Well, I'd love to, but I feel like you'd be like, oh no, I've heard that already, Elle. But I want to encourage you today to take some time, maybe today, maybe over the weekend, to review the year. Now, what do I mean by that? We are actually going to be thinking about this in the Mindset Minutes coming up in a couple of weeks' time. But in a more detailed fashion, I guess, I want to encourage you to sit down and list all of the things that have been wonderful about this year. Right? Sit down and think about all the bits that you've really enjoyed, all the things that you've appreciated, all the little tiny moments that have gone into the year to make it delightful. And part of the inspiration for this episode came up because there was a comment in one of my groups, and they said, well, I know you've had a difficult year, Elle. And I thought, well, have I? And ever the optimist, I thought, well, no, this year's been pretty good, actually. I've, launched the Faith and Business Playground. This has happened, that has happened, da, 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 da. But I knew what she meant, because parts of this year have been difficult. One of my children has had some issues and she's moving forward with that, and that's brilliant. But aspects of the year have been difficult. Not, leaving aside the fact I turned 40 in June and, we're just waiting for my midlife crisis. So yes, aspects of this year for me personally have been more challenging than others. But when I look back on the year as a whole, I look back on it as a really exciting year. It's the year when I finally closed my VA business. It's the year when I finally, after nearly a decade of going around in circles, I'm ready to move forward and really serve the faith and business community. And so I look back on 2018 with a great big grin on my face. But unless we actually take the time to think about it, unless we take the time to ponder on it month by month, it's really easy. If we haven't got lots of big concrete stuff to show for the year, it's really easy to gloss over it all and go, oh, yeah, just another year. And I really don't want you to do that. I think it does a disservice to you and a disservice to the year ending if you just go, yeah, okay, over, gone, move on. Because I've heard a lot in a few different Facebook groups and a few different communities. And the thing I'm hearing is that 2018 was a tough year for people. And that might be true. There might be aspects of the year on a whole. If you were going to give 2018 a mark out of 10, maybe it would only score a 4 or a 5 compared to previous years. But here's the thing. Even if you've had a tough 2018, even if you haven't achieved all of the goals maybe that you set for yourself, even if it wasn't the best year ever, there will still be elements of this year that have been lovely. There will be elements of 2018 that have been delightful. There might be clients that have come into your business that have been just an absolute honor and a joy to serve. And so if we go ahead and give the whole of the year a great big blanket, I'm so glad it's over, here's to the next year, I just think it's really sad. Aside from the fact that actually it doesn't serve you from a brain science perspective, I just think, you know what, life is precious. And the thing that I'm noticing the older I'm getting is that time seems to go faster. I mean, it doesn't go any faster, but if I think about like when I was from going from a newborn baby to age 20, and from then 20 to 40, that 20 to 40 flew so much faster. And someone told me actually that it's because if you think about, like I'm 40 now, 1 year when you're 40 as a percentage of your time on the planet is smaller compared to when you're 10. Like when you're 10, 1 year is a tenth of your life. So maybe that's why it feels like it goes faster. I'm not sure. But time is precious. Life is precious. And so if we go around with these blanket statements, oh, it was the worst year, and oh, it was a terrible year, or oh, it was an average year, I just think that's a shame. And so I wanted to take a few moments today to encourage you to actually do the work, take the time and do the exercise and actually look back, take it a month at a time, take it, a season at a time. Remember those things that you did. I mean, I don't know about you, but January 2018 feels like a really long time ago now. And thankfully, 5 years ago, my husband gave me a 5-year diary, and every single day for the last 5 years, there's been a question that I've answered. And so one of the things I love to do is I love to go back and actually look at those questions and the answers. And it reminds me of the things that the dreams and the hopes and all the different aspirations, but also the things that went really well. And yes, some days I had to play catch up because I missed a few days, but it's really nice to go back and reflect. And so if it's not part of your end of the year practice right now, I want to encourage you to maybe start it as a new tradition. Because here's the thing, we've been talking about this a lot in the Advent Adventure. You get to choose how you do Christmas, and you get to choose how you do life. And so what if you chose to make this time of year that chance where you go back and you reflect on the year that is closing? And yes, we will start to think about then how to prepare for the new year. And if you're interested, incidentally, I've got a whole book on that. It's a short little non-fiction book called Happily Ever After. And if you've got a Kindle, you can get it for free on Amazon. I will link to it in the show notes. So that is something that we will cover in future episodes, because I think I probably mentioned this in the book. I used to be somebody, if I'm pretty certain I did. I wrote it a while ago, so I can't remember exactly how I phrased this. However, I've been there, right? Because one of the people's frustrations with this idea of goals and setting goals is that at the start of the year, you have all these grand ideas, and then you get to the end of the year and things didn't quite pan out, or maybe you tweak and adjust. I mean, I've got a really concrete example of that for you, actually, from this year. I was full of good intentions. Some of you listening might know that I also write a bit of fiction. It was one of my itches I wanted to scratch. Every year after year, I'd go, I want to write fiction. I want to write fiction. And so one year I was like, well, just do it, stop talking about it and do it. And so I did. And 5 fiction novels later, I've done it a few times. And so my plan was in 2018 was to publish Danielle. It's the 4th book in the Charlie Diamond series. The plan was originally to publish it in June. That didn't happen. And then I was like, okay, I'm really going to get it done by December, because there aren't many people waiting to read it, but I do have a small handful of lovely ladies who email me and they write reviews, and my dad as well. But, Dad can wait. Sorry, Dad, if you're listening. But there is only a tiny few ladies who actually really enjoy those books. And I know they'd love to read the next one. So I thought, right, I'm going to get it done for Christmas. But then the Faith and Business Playground happened. And the thing that I have learned the hard way is that, yes, you can do more than one thing. You can do anything, but you can't do all of it all at once. You have to choose where your priorities lay. And so right back at the start of the year, I was full of goals and plans to write more fiction this year. But then I had the opportunity to serve this community, to serve as in the Faith and Business Playground. And that leapt to the top of the queue for me, because it really is a decade in the making, almost a decade in the making. And the culmination of lots and lots of circles and thoughts and And so I couldn't say no. I'm finally ready to step forward and lead this community. The time is now. But because of that, the fiction has had to push to next year. And I am going to write Danielle next year, slowly on the side. But my priorities have changed. And so as you reflect on the year, I don't want you to look at it as an exercise of frustration. This is a chance for you to reflect and move forward. But I've lost my train of thought now, what the tangent for that. Oh, yeah, I know. Sorry, recording this live. One take wonder. Woohoo! So you get the real behind the scenes stuff here. This is how my brain works. So if you've ever thought that you're the only one who's inside their heads is a bit of a mess, you now have absolute concrete proof that it really is not just you. I'm just the same. We're all messes. We're all just making it up as we go along. However, one of my frustrations with goal setting was this idea: you write these goals and then stuff happens. So instead, in Happily Ever After, and I will talk about this more in a future episode, but instead I'm encouraging to look at big picture goals, but looking at your why behind it, and then breaking that down into 90-day goals instead. And doing the whole thing from a position of kindness and love and being gentle, because life, as we've already said, life is precious. What's the point in tying yourself in knots and getting frustrated with it? And so the very first step in that, before we start thinking about 2019, is I really do want to encourage you and equip you so that you can end this year looking back on it with, yeah, do you know what? Overall, it was really good. I'm really proud of myself. I'm the person that I'm becoming throughout this year. Yeah, she's good. Because that will empower you and equip you to move forward with a smile on your face in 2019. So my homework for you, I know you don't get homework very often on this podcast, but I have some for you today. Make some time today or over this weekend to sit down and reflect on 2018. Look at the things that have gone really, really well. By all means, write down the things that you wish were different, but more than anything, focus on those bits that were lovely and delightful and wonderful. Look at this as a chance to celebrate the year, to really put a bow on it, because you know what? I reckon if you go back and reflect on it, overall, there's been some pretty stellar moments in this year. You just need to take some time to actually allow yourself to ponder on them and celebrate those moments. And of course, if 2019, if you're ready to step forward and to grow and thrive, thriving life, faith, business in 2019, I would be honored and delighted to help you on that journey. As some of you listening will know, I have opened the door to the Faith and Business Playground. It's a membership, online membership community. You can find out more if you go to faithandbusinessplayground.com/join. There's lots of information on that page. It tells you about the different themes. I'm doing all of my training for 2019 within the playground. I'm not releasing, like some other coaches, they release like group programs one after the other. No, I'm not doing that. Everything is happening within the playground and one piece builds on the next. So you can find out more about that if you go to faithandbusinessplayground.com/join, because it is my way of serving in the coming 12 months. Other than one or two, a few one-on-one clients, it is basically all of my energy, all of my efforts. Quite candidly, I'd quite happily fill the Faith and Business Playground with lots of wonderful people and not do any one-on-one at all. I want to pour all of my energy and all of my time into the playground. But that, of course, starts with you, because I need people to serve. So if that sounds like something that you would get value from, if you would like some help and some support and some encouragement, go to faithandbusinessplayground.com/join. And of course, if you have any questions at all, you can email me. My email address is on that page as well. Anyway, in the meantime, thank you for listening. Go off. If you haven't got time today to review your year, put it in your calendar for some time over the weekend, but actually do it. Yeah, because it will really set you up for an amazing new year as well. But even if you don't want an amazing new year, I mean, who doesn't? But leaving that aside, even if you just think of this as an exercise to put on a smile on your face and a neat bow on the year for now, it's still worth doing. So give it a go. In the meantime, thank you for listening. I have been Elle from the faithandbusinessplayground.com. I look forward to catching up with you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.